Welcome back to Better at Work for our listeners' questions episode. Guess who's back? It's Annette. Hi, Annette.
Hi, Cathal. Hi, everyone.
How are you doing down there?
I'm good, Cathal. I'm loving these sunnier evenings and the daylight savings. I'm happy.
I was just looking at your brightness there. Like it's, what time's it there with you now? 7
It's
o'clock?
now
is it?
7:27. I know the farmers and the cows don't like it, but I love my daylight savings.
Well, it's weird because it's yesterday, I think it was about 3 o'clock, it was dark here. It was really, we're really into the dark season now. But you know what? The Christmas lights definitely make a difference here.
Heartwarming. Now, hey, Cathal, what's been happening with you? Did you meet someone special? Can you share?
I mean, when you say special, I mean, I met Dermot Kennedy, and for anyone that knows Dermot Kennedy, they know what an amazing voice he has, what an amazing talent he is. I mean, I think I introduced you to Dermot Kennedy,
You
didn't I?
did, and I have saved him to my Spotify playlist.
Yeah, I remember that. Wasn't
Better
that like about
days?
2 years ago?
Yeah,
Better
yeah.
days are coming. And yeah, so I
Mm.
met him. I was out meeting someone here in London, actually an Australian lady, for a catch up. And Dermot was sitting beside us at the restaurant, and he actually was eating his big fat chips, you know, like those fat chips.
Wedges?
He was loving those chips, I tell you, and having a little drink. And he had his iPad out, and I was like, going, oh, he was writing. So I wonder, was he writing a song? Maybe I will be in the song, Annette. You just don't know.
Hey, so, Cathal,
He did hear
what?
the Irish accent. Maybe he'll have a song about, in a bar in London, I heard the Irish tones.
Hey, so what is it about Dermot Kennedy's music that speaks to you? Why do you love him so much?
I think I think the lyrics are brilliant. Like, better days are coming if no one told you. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so, his lyrics are amazing on all of the songs. I also like, this is going to sound weird, but, well, not weird. I like that the melodies are quite uplifting.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, they're almost like a bit dancey. They're not like power ballads. Like, there's something, I mean, I'm not very good with explaining myself with music, but you know, you like what you like.
Yeah.
And I think it's the lyrics I like. I like the melodies. And I like him. He's a very nice person.
It sounds like it was lovely with you, Cathal.
He was very nice. I did say hello to him. I got some pics with him, and really nice, very kind of calm energy, like,
Yeah.
and kind of you feel like someone who's taking it all in.
Observing and understanding.
Yeah, I was wondering, was he thinking, Jesus, who's this excitable Egypt now coming up to me? But he was very nice. We actually talked about, he was on the Late Late Show in Ireland a few years ago, where this young lad was on there, and sadly his dad had passed away, and Dermot Kennedy came on because this young lad was singing one of Dermot Kennedy's songs, and Dermot Kennedy came on halfway through it. And here was a little fact he gave me, Annette, was that he didn't know that young lad who was singing his song, that his dad had passed away. And yeah, he had no awareness of that, which I thought, wow, that's crazy that he didn't know that. You would think they kind of have told him, but anyway, they didn't. But I was more just saying how that young lad was brilliant, such a great singer. So if you haven't ever seen the clip, go to YouTube, put in Dermot Kennedy Late Late Show, and you'll see it. But no, Annette, it was. Yeah, I think I sent it to you. Did I?
Yeah, I've seen it. I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah, it was
Cathal,
lovely.
I didn't meet my hero this week, or someone's a musician who I love, but I did listen to something very funny which I've sent you. I found out about in a podcast that I listened to, it was mentioned, so I went and listened, and it was about on This American Life, and it was about Tig Notaro meeting one of her music heroes, Dayne, several times over a few years, and how terrible it was. And I won't do any more to spoil the clip. But anyway, I laughed for 15 minutes, and it was just lovely. It was just it's always lovely to find something like that is so silly and so funny. And
I'm glad you sent it to me. But for any of our listeners, look it up. So what do they look up on YouTube, Annette?
If you look up This American Life, Tig Notaro, Dayne, you will find it. It's got a lot of views.
Dayne.
And Dayne is like, listen to my heart. Yeah.
Listen to my heart.
Cut that out.
No, keep that in. That's funny.
Tell it to my heart.
Is that it? Tell it to my heart. You're trying to find the song now?
I am.
Our listeners are going to love hearing this.
Anyway, I would say definitely go and find, if you want something to make you laugh, go and find This American Life, Tig Notaro, Dayne.
Yeah, it was very funny. Annette sent it to me, and it's just soup. So silly that, her hero was this singer, and she just kept meeting her and kept stumbling on what to say.
But hey, I'll say, if you do watch it, Tig kept putting herself out there. She was following Carly's advice.
Well, yes, good link.
Confident?
God, Annette.
Yeah.
I'm getting good at these links to the episode. Jeez, there we go. Yes, we had the amazing Carly Lyon on the podcast. When did I do the recording? Last week, wasn't it? And
it was last week.
Yeah, it's up on YouTube if you haven't heard already. And a lovely link from Annette there, because Carly is a personal branding expert and someone that says put yourself out there a lot. Her book is Courage to Be, a brand new book, which is absolutely brilliant. And, as Annette said there with her nice, beautiful link, she says a lot to put yourself out there. Annette, Carly, wasn't she great? What did you think?
She was great. And I've been following Carly since you first told me about her, Cathal, and I had a call with her and you a few years ago when we were first working on Better at Work. And I love her social media content, and I've got the book on order, and so really good to get a preview. And so I suppose my takeaways, it's so many, actually, you'll have seen in my notes, there's about 7 or 8, but my top 3. I really love her definition of a personal brand and how she breaks that down. So that's the intentional way an individual presents and packages who they are and what they do for a purpose. So I just think that's a really simple, good takeaway about all the mystique around personal brand. I love how she broke that down. And then the second part of it is, I'm a product marketer. That's 15 years in product, and it's always bleeding into product marketing, because it's a big part of product is promotion. So I love the whole 4 Ps. Whether some people like 4, there are 7, depends on who your expert is. But I love the 4 Ps and how applying them to yourself. And I hadn't thought of that. And I've done courses and programs and read textbooks and all of that, but never thought about applying it to personal brands. So that those 4 Ps of promise, what you want, being able to have that in a few words. And I love Carly's promise. And then the packaging, and thinking about Rolex and what you'd think if you saw a Rolex and with the toothpaste in a supermarket. How, that's what package is about. The packaging has to be all right, which is part of the setting as well. And then the position. So, everything about for a podcast, the guests, the articles, and not saying no to an opportunity, Cathal, and we're waiting for you to be on Graham Norton. It's going to happen. And then promotion. So, and this one, this is like, so critical to products and product management around making sure that your product is top of mind with your target customers. And so that, when they have that need, that they've got an intention to trial because they've got an awareness of you. And so that's that needing to put yourself out there. And I love that example that you said about the flurry of messages that you get after a LinkedIn post or promoting the podcast or people receiving their updates of a new episode, that then brings you up top of mind for people that you care about, friends and people in our community reach out to you. So that was the second one was around the 4 Ps and that framework to think about and work through your personal brand. The next one that I loved was that mind, body, soul, and thinking about personal brand, and what I was, how Carlex recommended you sit down and ask those 4 ikigai questions. And I was thinking when I do that, I'd put that lens on answering them on mind, body, soul of what do you love? So for your mind, your body and your soul, what are you good at for your mind, body and soul? What does the world need? And then the practical, what can you be paid for? So I love that ikigai and thought I might try that with the mind, body, soul. And I think Carly talks about mind, body, soul, and then she talks about soul being brand.
Yeah.
And I also think about, because it made me think about this book that I want to go back to that I've read previously. And it's this book called The Soul in the Computer, the story of a corporate revolutionary by Barbara Wall with Margot Silk Forest. It's all set at Hewlett Packard. Wow. And the soul in the machine metaphor is about that behind technical machinery and corporate systems, the real power lies in the human soul, that human soul dimension, which is creativity, values, purpose, and that you can't ignore that if you want meaningful change. So that brand and soul being together. So anyway, that sparked a lot of thinking from me when I was listening to Carly on mind, body, soul, and ikigai, and thinking about
ikigai. I loved that. I was like going, God, we should put that into our better careers as a
as an exercise, and putting the ikigai and the mind, body, soul, or mind, body, soul / brand.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people, particularly, I like that it's like a building blocks, right?
Yeah.
You got to work on the mind. I was talking to someone yesterday who's quite tired after 14 years of working for a massive company, and just realized they were very burnt out. And actually he's working at the moment on his mind and his body. And just like kind of trying, his head was really busy. He didn't realize how stressed he was. His body was tired. He's trying to get it back up and running. And then, the brand piece, which is, what do I actually want to be known for? What is my brand now that I have done the work on my mind and body? And I just think that's really good. So I love that she included that in our discussion. I mean, I think I actually brought it up in the discussion, but I loved it in the book, I should say, that she had this ikigai. Am I pronouncing it right? Ikigai?
I'm pretty sure it is ikigai.
Ikigai.
Yeah.
And just for you, if you haven't...
Ikigai.
Yes, Ikigai. You can Google it, actually. It's pretty famous, but I hadn't heard of it before. And I love what do you love? What are you good at? And what does the world need? And what can you be paid for? I think it's such great 4 questions to have. So anyway, I was
think
saying,
of them in the circles in a Venn diagram I've seen as well. Yeah,
exactly. So anyway, you and I are going to work on our better careers and update it with that one, because I think that's a really good.
Grace, listen, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, great. We'll be in touch on that one. But look, it was a great discussion. I've had really lovely messages from people who've listened to the main interview with Carly on YouTube and even on Spotify and Apple as well. Someone messaged me and said they thought she was absolutely beautiful looking.
She is. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
And her such classic fashions. And I follow her on LinkedIn, and she does these amazing posts with these blackboards, and she writes something very wise with the little white letters.
Yeah,
and they're
I've
very
seen that
impactful.
too.
Yeah. Stunning.
Yeah,
and
really lovely lady.
wise.
I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here probably now talking if it wasn't for the lovely Carly, because she did, she was really good when I was thinking about what was next. She was super helpful. Not helpful is not even the right word. She was inspiring, and she got me to do the work to kind of really think about, particularly, I think that, what you love, what are you good at, what does the world need, and what can you be paid for? was a really good exercise for me to do back at that time. So yeah, brilliant. If you haven't listened to the main episode, do have a listen. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you'll find it. Google it. But yeah, great to have Carly on the show. And thank you, Annette, for those lovely takeaways. Now on to listeners' questions. Hey, Annette, listen, so many questions at the moment. I can't keep up with all the questions, which is really good. Lots of people are coming to me. I don't know if you're getting it, but I am getting so many questions. And here's the thing. I don't know what's happened, but the pendulum has swung. The questions are all from men. I have had, no lie, in the last week alone, at least 6 questions from men. Men. We never used to get men giving us questions on the show. It's usually more women, isn't it?
It had been initially, Cathal.
Yeah, it was definitely.
Yeah, this is great. This is great.
Yeah, so I think, look, even before I talk about the question, I think it's exactly as Annette said. I think it's great. Men are reaching out and saying, and we'll feature some of these questions. I've asked those people, Annette, that have asked me the questions. One was like absolutely having a terrible boss who seemed to be threatened by this particular man. That came up. Another man who had experienced extreme burnout, and I had a 2-hour discussion with him. And I mean, there's loads, but I decided to pick this one this week because I thought it'll challenge us. Some of the other questions were ones that I have seen before or been through myself, was able to answer quickly. But this question is from Zach. This isn't Zach's real name because he didn't want to share his real name because he knows we have a lot of people that work in banks that listen to the show. But he's a young graduate. He is on a grad program for one of the biggest banks in the world. And he reached out to me. He is like, what's wrong with me? I don't like this one bit. He's been in it a few months, I think he said 6 to 7 months. He is in a division that, he thought he was going to like. It's honestly, Annette, I can't go into too much detail, but a lot of people would just absolutely kill for this grad role, right? Because I can say it's a front office role, right? And if you work in banks, people always want the front office roles. They don't want, they go, that's the role to have, right? That's sales, that's trading, that's the sexy stuff. But he is of the view that it's very narrow, and he thought he was going to learn more about the overall company, whereas he feels he's just kind of a very small cog in a big wheel. And here's the thing, he wants to leave. And he's asked, what should he do?
Yeah.
Now, I know that I've hit you with that question. So normally listeners, behind the curtain of how this show works, we normally do share the questions with each other beforehand and do a little bit of prep. This was such a live question. I didn't actually share it with Annette until literally before we pressed record. So I'm going to let Annette have a moment to just gather her thoughts on it. Let me tell you what I told young Zach. So Zach, I can totally get where you're coming from. I can see that you like understanding the mechanics of how a big organization works. I also get the impression, Annette, he's quite entrepreneurial, and he kind of would prefer to be doing something of his own. But my thoughts are this. You learn an awful lot in these big organizations, even if you are a small cog in a big machine. There is so much you pick up. I remember when I first started at a big investment bank, I learned so much from hearing other people's phone calls. And what I mean by that is I would hear Sarah Welsh. Hi, Sarah Welsh. You might be listening. You never know. It's 20 years ago. But I'd hear Sarah Welsh on the phone with clients and how she dealt with those clients. I would see how my bosses would manage difficult situations. So, I was similar to Zach. I didn't really learn much about the overall company because you were a little cog, as he said, in the wheel. But I learned all these other things in those moments. And I know you would probably say similar for yourself. The other thing I would say to Zach is, could you give it a year? Could you also talk to your manager and say, you are very interested in the broader thing. Is there any projects that they need someone on that are, maybe projects for the overall company? Like I said to him, when I was a graduate, I got involved in the people development committee because I love all the people stuff. Oh my God, it was brilliant. I got to see what the company was doing overall to help their people change the culture, etc. And that was great because that was my interest. He's probably more, I could imagine if there was some kind of committee on how the company is making its money or how it's reducing costs or all of that, like he would probably love something like that. So I suggested to him that he talks to his manager as well. And I just think that giving it a year, it's not a long time. He's already 6 months into it. And if he can, one, talk to the manager about getting involved in some other things. And I thought, two, maybe he's doing his own little side hustle at the weekend where if he really wants to be an entrepreneur, and he did say to me, he has got some ideas, could he be pursuing that on the side and just at least investigating what it might look like going into maybe some other startups and seeing, he's got a few friends that work at startups. Could he go in on take a day off work and go in there? With these big corporates, you got to be careful. I said to him, you got to make sure there's no kind of sharing of information, etc. And the way normally in the big corporates, you really, if you're employed by them, you kind of have to be very careful what you do. Yeah. But I said to him, I can guide him on that if he was wanting to do something like that. Anyway, that was my take on it. What about you?
Cathal, in that time I have got 5 pieces of advice.
Sweet mother of God. This is why she's
I've
good,
got 5.
guys.
Yeah.
This is why she's good.
Zach, this would be my first piece of advice is you're in a large organization. It's a friend factory. Spend some time and finding your people and making some friends at work. If you don't have any already, like your people, that because those friendships can build that sense of belonging, that purpose, help with resilience when the day-to-day is not creating the challenge or energizing you the way you to your expectations. That would be number one, invest that time in friends. The second one, and this is echoing what you said, Cathal, around, if it isn't challenging and it's narrow and Zach's able to get his work done, is that using that time to have the work-life balance, because career is not always going to be, narrow and easy to get done, to, look at any volunteering opportunities that might be there through the organisation. Make sure you're really across the capability framework for that, the roles that you're really interested in, and understand what those capabilities are that you need to build at the 3-year, the 5-year out, and what can you be doing, like what training, learning is available in the organisation for you to take the time to be building out those skills for yourself. And then again, like the side hustle, having the time and the energy and the space to get some of what you need from doing something else. If it's not volunteering, then it's, working on a side hustle. And the third thing I think is the reflect of really get to that understanding, but asking yourself those questions about what is it that you don't like about that narrowness, what does that really look like and feel like, and once you get into that naming and documenting and so on, it's like, okay, well, what can you do to counter that? It might even be in the team that you're in about what are those frustrations and what could you do that could be an additional project around an innovation or an improvement or something that you could bring that's going to challenge above and beyond the day-to-day.
I love that idea, Annette. That's a really good idea.
And then the fourth one would be around that, because of that that Zach, you're not learning what you expected you'd be learning about the organisation. What are the opportunities to shadow someone, to find a mentor, to have a coach, have your line manager help you find, or through your graduate program, find those connections to share some of these insights and get that advice? And are there any employee action groups like a youth network, or things that you can get involved in that do light you up, that are above and are beyond the role? And then the fifth one, this is from my experience, that I worked for a big bank in New Zealand. I saved up for university, and I went to university. I worked through the holidays, but I came back on the graduate program, and we had to spend 2 years. The part of the program was spending 2 years in a branch, and I'd already worked in branches to save up for university and through the holidays. So, but spending those extra 2 years there, when I did get my dream job of product management and product marketing, brand marketing, and got in there, I was I think I could be so much more effective at that, because everything I'd learned in those 2 years around my products, around my customers, around connecting with people and working out how to get things done. So where that leads me to, Zach, is that you probably won't really know what you've learned from this time until the future comes and you go, I grew there. I learned some things there about myself. Even those are my top 5 thoughts for you, Zach. I hope they're helpful.
They're excellent, Annette. I hope they help Zach as well. And look, for anyone that is in a job that they don't enjoy, it can be really difficult, Annette. I was trying to say that.
It can just drain you.
It can drain you. It can drain you. It was like the other guy I spoke to yesterday who was just like, really struggling to get up in the morning to get in. So we get it. In a different way, because you've probably been in jobs in it where you're just trying, oh God, what can I take from this? What can I actually?
The night fill in the supermarket.
Oh my God, exactly.
Here's another can of beans to price. Another box of cans of beans to price and stack.
But I think Zach,
I'm working on my biceps.
But the thing, Zach, to take from it is, you've got a great role. And I was trying to say to him as well, Annette, be proud of the fact that you have gotten this role. I mean, geez, to get on those grad programs these days is crazy. So, Zach, I'll talk to you a little bit more, but thought we would get you a little bit of insights from both of us, and more than happy to help. And if anyone else has questions, you know where to come. Actually, go for it, Annette. You normally do our questions section now. Go for it. What do you want to tell them?
Yes. Hey, everyone. If you've got a career dilemma you'd like us to tackle in a future listeners' questions episode, head to betteratwork.net and send us a note. We'd love to hear from you and love to help if we can.
Exactly. And you can see, guys, she's fast. I mean, I gave her that one just before we started recording. She's already had 5. So she's fast. She's better than me at this stuff. And don't forget, there she goes. Look, she's got her notes up. And there she is. She's showing you her notes on YouTube. So don't forget, we're on YouTube now. You could watch us on the full video conversations on our channel, or of course, keep listening wherever you get your podcasts. Now, next week, we have got an amazing guest. But guess what? We have 2 amazing guests. And I'm not going to tell you about them just yet, because we haven't decided which one we're going to show. That's the truth, Annette. That's the truth. We've got 2. We've actually got some brilliant episodes coming up, and we've got so many. We've got really good ones to choose from. So we haven't decided on the guests for next week yet, because I need to sit down and go which one will be a nice follow-on from this particular episode with Carly. But yeah, and just so you know, guys, we've got some of the episodes coming up. We've got a brilliant episode on conflict coming up. It over and over again is the topic that comes up, that people feel like, they avoid conflict at work, etc. So that's the episode. There is going to be an episode on that as well coming up. So that's it for this episode of Better at Work. Thank you so much for joining us. Annette, thank you as always.
Thanks, Cathal. I've loved this conversation, and thanks everyone for listening. We'll talk to you soon, won't we, Cathal?
Yes, we will. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.